Avi Yemini, he is a Rebel News reporter from Australia. Is this this is not your first time here?
No, I've been here before.
Yeah, okay. You're traveling. Where did you start?
So we started in San Fran.
Okay. Oh,
that's the idea. Starting in San Fran in like Kamala, the place that represents everything she represents,
right.
And we're going to end in Miami. So we've done a fair bit. This is a great large country.
Right. I know. You have a large continent, a very large country, but not a lot of people.
No. And I'll tell you this, I probably traveled now more of America than I have Australia.
Really?
It's a bit like I've never gone in an RV around Australia.
Is there a gas station somewhere in the middle of Australia where you could?
There are. I have done. I've gone to Outback Australia during COVID to report on some of the crime stuff that was happening in Alice Springs, so in the middle of Australia. So you can get to places, but it's you have long drives of nothing.
Beautiful, beautiful country, though. Okay, so what are you finding so far? You're halfway through your trip. Yep. You're here in Texas. So what are you finding along the way? What are people actually feeling and saying?
Look, people keep asking me in Australia, especially like, what are you predicting? And I go, look, if I'm going by the mood is clearly Trump, because I'm seeing people that are saying, you have your Trumpers, you have your Republicans. They're fine. Most of them are proud to say it. Then you have the people that kind of the whole issue is about the last 4 years has just been tough. I was a registered Democrat. I am a Democrat. I've always voted Democrat, and they've gone to Trump. And then you have the Democrats that say they're voting Democrat, but they're like, we're going to lose. And then you have like the diehard Democrat that are like, no, Kamala's way ahead.
So do you find, there's always this suppressed Trump voter that doesn't want to say, I think that's becoming less and less of a factor now. People, God bless them, that, 6 years ago were wearing the MAGA hats. Who were just like on suicide missions. You'd see them and you'd be like, the guy's wearing a red hat. He's crazy. But now people don't have that feeling. Is there still the suppressed Trump, and do you think that there is a suppressed Trump supporter in some that are saying they're for Kamala? They just don't want anybody to know.
For sure. I was actually surprised a bit. I think in
let's see. You were in Las Cruces, Los Angeles, San Francisco, San Diego.
Yeah, okay. In San Diego, I was surprised because there was what I noticed with when you say closet Trumpers, the way you work it out is by so I go, okay, you don't want to. I ask people what they're voting, and they say, oh, I'd rather not say and whatever. And then I go, oh, so what are the kind of issues that bother you? And then it's their answers about cost of living. The last 4 years they're essentially saying have been horrible. It was easier before, so who they're voting. They just don't want to say it out loud. They're scared to say it. And I ask them, what are you worried about? And some of them say, it depends which way this is going to play. We don't know. And I've got family. I've got friends, I've got this. But I've actually had really interesting interactions yesterday, in fact, in Texas, in Waco, Texas. I reckon we haven't published it yet. So we've got like this website, aviacrossamerica.com, where we're publishing everything. We haven't even produced it yet, but we bumped into a couple where I'm just asking, in fact, everywhere I go, I try to think of something unique to the place. In Texas, I was reading some reports that there are Democrats that think that Texas is going to flip from, red to blue.
Oh, yeah, red to blue.
And so there was that question, and there was also, I read, a progressive local writer that's saying that if Trump succeeds in deporting all the illegal immigrants, the economy in Texas is going to crash. So that was kind of
craziness.
So that was my question that I don't want to hear it from media pundits. I want to hear it from the average person. And so I walk up to this couple like I've done to everyone. Mind you, I was expecting a lot more cowboys here.
I know.
Really disappointed.
I've had friends that fly into the state and they're like, where are all the cows? You're like, good Lord, it's not Texas 1874.
There was an Aussie hunting the streets of Texas looking for cowboys. I was like a crocodile hunter, just more cowboy hunting. Anyways, so I asked this couple, and he was a Kamala. He was like a left-wing younger. He's a year younger than me, so he was 38 or something. And and then they kind of broke out into this argument. And I kind of stepped back and just played the mic because she was clearly a Trumper. She was making all the arguments that you would hear, like that I see online play out. It was playing out in real life in front of me between a couple, which I hope to God that they stay together. But I said it to them.
What was he saying?
So he was, it got to the point, they digressed to Black Lives Matter, for example, and he was making all the arguments of, I went to those who were great, and she's like, I was working in a coffee shop. They were terrorists. They were attacking.
Yeah.
But he went through everything, all the different, and he just labelled her a conspiracy theorist. He said that you can't have, I'm not going to vote for a side that waves Nazi flags at their rallies.
That I can tell you right now, that's not going to last.
She turns around, she goes, "What are you calling me a Nazi?" And it's like, no, not you. But
yeah,
it's
right.
I for me, it was the most compelling kind of interview, which I really stopped interviewing because they were just doing the work for me.
Yeah.
And I think it also just demonstrates what's happening across this country. I think that's what's really going on. The fact that they're together, I actually hope they stay together because...
Were they married or just a couple?
They've been seeing each other. They're clearly... I'm someone that looks at that and I hope that they can, because I come from a family, I'm one of 17 children.
17?
Yes,
Your mother was tired.
My mother is tired. She'll never babysit my kids. She says, I have done my time, she tells me.
Yeah.
But, in our family, we have wide-ranging, I've got what I consider far left-wing brothers, siblings. And then I have some that are, they might consider me far right, but there are some that are more conservative than me even. And I think... Interestingly enough, the silver lining of October 7 for us in our family, and probably for a lot of Jews, is actually we realise that...
We're all family.
Yeah, it doesn't actually... Those political differences don't matter. There's a greater enemy and they want us all dead. But I would love to see that for not only America, for the world, that you can actually have opposing views and talk about them. I agree with you. I don't know if they'll last because... He was jumping on, it was almost the personal attacks, but he had to skip over his partner.
As a man who married at 19, and politics did not play a role at all, and her politics were really almost Hillary Clinton. It doesn't not
possible. I've heard that argument.
It doesn't work. If you're both strong-willed and strong opinion, especially when if you're in a relationship, try to make it work. Do everything you can to make it work, but it takes both of you wanting to make it work. But if you're dating somebody, God bless you, but why put yourself through when somebody is calling your philosophy Nazi?
Yeah.
That's nuts. That's nuts. Yeah. Okay, take me through a couple of these sound bites here. What do we have? Let me see here. We have you catch a voter on her bad argument using bad logic.
That was my most fun, I reckon, that one.
Okay, let's go. Cut 6, please.
My sister is trans, and she, it's like when someone's like talking about something that directly affects you and they have no skin in the game. None, nada, zero. It's different.
How do you feel about Israel and Palestine?
I don't think the genocide in Gaza is good.
Do you have skin in the game?
Well, that's a little bit of a different issue, though. We're talking about the health.
No, but I'm just trying to make the point here. So you're upset.
You're about a foreign war, and I'm talking about people's health care.
I'm talking about people's lives. So my mother lives in Israel. My sister, my brother. You have a really strong opinion about Israel. I'm applying your same argument back at you. You don't know what you're talking about. You've got no skin in the game. And
I'm okay.
Okay.
She's walked away.
You see how that works? Funny how her logic only applies to her political foes.
Yeah.
Imagine my shock.
The great part about that is there's just unrelated laughter at the perfect time in that video. It's in the background, but she's just laughing at her argument.
I only realized that when reading the comments. I didn't even hear the laughter.
Someone just laughing at something totally separate in the background, but it just timed perfectly into your video.
Might have been. What city was that in?
That was in Hollywood. That was Hollywood.
You're a brave man. Let's go to cut 7.
What threat to your community does Donald Trump pose?
anti-trans, anti-LGBTQ, actually trying to reverse rights for women. And
What rights for women?
the right to control their body.
Because how would you define a woman?
I would define a woman as anyone who says that they're a woman.
So abortion rights would not really be then women, because if somebody who can't have...
I mean, you can play semantics games like
I was
on how you
playing
want to
semantics.
describe
That was
things,
you.
but I did say that anyone who has a uterus to be able to, control their body.
So he's not really against women's rights, he's against... Then what's a woman?
I don't want to argue that point with you.
No worries. Take care, good luck. Thank you.
I love that. I absolutely love it, because that's usually the way it goes. I you're so stupid. I don't want to argue with you anymore.
Right.
And you're like,
Yeah, look, I can't get away with that fun in Australia anymore. Like you said, Australia's a tiny place, and everyone, I might be small, but everybody kind of recognises me, and then they just get angry. A bit like probably here. What I'm finding great about America is I can just have normal conversations. And I'm talking to everyone. Those were two clips of, two left. I'm talking to right wing, and I'm challenging everyone's kind of view, because the idea of what we're trying to achieve here is to hear what actual Americans think.
So those are on extreme ends, and you're finding generally our population to be what? At each other's throats, civil war, what?
I think a lot of people are nervous about what's happening, but I think most people are more scared of the outcome of the election. Really, like the average person is scared about their pocket. They feel like cost of living, and if it continues the way it's going, we're going to be in all sorts of trouble. The other thing that I've noticed...
That's every election that has ever been in situations like this, that it's the economy, stupid.
It's the economy.
Has always been.
The other thing that stood out is I have noticed, and I remember seeing it, from afar, watching commentators here, but I saw it in real. I see it in real life. Is anytime you go to even a liberal pocket within a Republican state, but a liberal state or a liberal pocket, there's suddenly like this explosion of homelessness and like drug use on the streets. And I'm talking to the homeless people. I'm asking them like, what is and most of them are coming there. And it's funny to see even the mental gymnastics of the local liberals that are there. I'm going, why is it that when I go to a Republican city or a Republican town area, I don't see any of this. And they go, oh, no, because, they'll give all different sorts of excuses, as in, this is a much safer space for them. Liberals are more giving. So they come here and they're so it's all, they twist all these things to make it like they are good things. And I'm like, but then is this the way you want America to be? Like, is this the vision you have for the rest of America?
Right.
And it's, on one hand, they complain about it and they move to places like Texas, but then they bring their policies and their politics with them, which I fear for places like Texas, because you think like it's amazing. I've never seen. So I was saying this to our driver on the way. The only other place I've seen such patriotism, as in so many flags proudly displayed, is Israel. Israel and Texas. Yeah, and it's beautiful, because I think you need to be proud about.
I think so too. That's why I'm trying to convince Donald Trump to build a western wall, northern wall, eastern wall, and southern wall around Texas. Just we don't want anybody. We don't want any Californians, New Yorkers. We're fine. We're fine.
Can you open it to one Australian?
All right. But no spiders. I got to tell you that Australia is the perfect prison. I think God designed it as a prison. He's like, you know what? Place to put criminals and all of the creepy animals that kill you. We'll just put them all right here.
And they tested it in COVID, and it works.
Yeah. Hey, have you guys sobered up on that at all? I mean, are you?
Yeah, no.
Is the population going?
Everybody's forgotten.
So they didn't. Nobody
learned a lesson.
Learned a lesson.
No.
Oh, jeez.
No.
Oh, crazy. Avi, thank you so much. You can find all of this at aviacrossamerica.com. That's aviacrossamerica.com.